So in this episode, I want to look at those times where we have a choice between choosing what's best for our current us or choosing what's best for our future us. And maybe what's best isn't the right way of putting it, but we have a choice really to kind of attend to the current version of us or attend to the future version. And this is particularly the case with something like anxiety, because the way anxiety works is we'll get a lot of feelings that are very uncomfortable. And in that moment, we have the choice whether to kind of deal with those and attend to those uncomfortable feelings and kind of obey those, or do what's actually best for us long term. And so an example of that, for instance, just so you can get your head around the kind of thing I'm talking about, let's say, for instance, that one of the things that's really important to you in your life is to deepen your friendships, to make new friendships, to really strengthen your social circle. That's something that you really want for yourself. And you know that in order to do that, you have to kind of accept invitations, say, to social events that the people that you currently know might invite you to. And so you'll get an invite off somebody that you know, and you'll accept the invite. And your plan is to follow through with what you really want. And what you really want in your future is to have these deep social connections. So you've said yes, and your full intention is to go to this social gathering. And yet as it comes closer, and maybe on the day itself, you start to feel certain jangly feelings in your body. You start to have sensations. You might feel certain emotions like fear, or you might have certain thoughts like, oh, nobody's going to like you, or it's not going to go well. Or you might have certain imagery that comes up that you find quite scary. And amidst all of this discomfort, you might think to yourself, shall I just leave it? Shall I just not go? And in that crossroads, you've got a choice, because in this exact moment, you've got all this discomfort going on, these kind of scary thoughts, scary imagery. You've got these horrible sensations. You've got emotions that aren't too comfortable to hold. And so that's current you. Future you, though, really needs you to go to the gathering, because future you wants all these deep social connections and strong friendships that you've already identified as being important to you in your life. And so in that moment where the discomfort comes, where you've got the invitation to go to this evening, but in this moment you're feeling all jangly and uncomfortable, you've got a choice about which version of you are you going to look after? Which version of you are you going to choose to attend to? The one that needs you to go to the gathering, because that's one of the ways that you'll get these deep social connections, or the one of you that needs you to kind of attend to the discomfort in this moment. And one thing that we'll often do is that the feelings of discomfort become so uncomfortable that we will choose to soothe those feelings in the moment. We will choose to decide that we're not going after all, even though we know that we really need to go, even though we might deeply want to go. These uncomfortable feelings take precedence, and we decide to attend to current version of us, the one that really doesn't want these uncomfortable feelings. And then rather than pushing through and choosing future version of us, we might come up with a way to soothe those jangly feelings and sensations and emotions. And we might say, oh, I tell you what, I just won't go. I'll sit in and I'll binge watch something on TV. And as soon as you make that decision, then the current version of you is all soothed. All those jangly, uncomfortable feelings will go away, and you can just sit in and watch TV for the night. And you don't have to go to that gathering and deal with all those uncomfortable feelings that you had, because they've now gone. And the problem is, round about 9:30, 9:45, when it's too late now to go to the gathering and you've missed it, those feelings kind of come back again, and they belong to future you. It's those feelings of regret. And begin to understand that you've actually not taken a step forward towards the life that you actually really do want. So those feelings in the moment allowed you to choose current you over future you. And what it's a little bit like is, imagine that you're driving a bus and you come to a crossroads and you've got all these passengers on the bus, and you know that the place that you need to get to, you have to turn right at this crossroads. And so you indicate right. And the moment that you do, all the passengers start to protest and they're starting to shout, "No, turn left. Don't be turning right, turn left." And now you've got a dilemma because you know that you really need to turn right, that that's the place to go to. And yet there's so much noise and cacophony that it feels so uncomfortable that you're really tempted to turn left. And the problem is, if you do turn left, well, the good thing is that the passengers will shut up straight away, and all that discomfort and noise that they were making as they were trying to tell you not to turn right, well, they've quietened down in the moment. And then you're able to turn left and you get a little bit of peace in this moment. But before long, you realise you've actually gone in completely the wrong direction. You're actually moving away from the thing which is actually most important to you. Whereas if you keep the indicator on right and actually turn right, you'll get the protests, you'll get the discomfort from all the cacophony from the passengers. But if you keep driving through that, you will actually end up to the destination that you want to be with. And so this is often the crossroads that we find ourselves in, where there's something that really means something to us, something we really want in our lives, and we have every intention of going towards it. But when we actually start moving in that direction, we feel discomfort in our bodies. If we take the bus analogy, all those passengers start causing trouble for us. And then we've got a decision. Do we want to soothe things for the current version of us that's listening to these passengers howling and making a noise? Or do we want to go in the direction that we really want to end up with and really want to end up at and choose the future version of us instead? Do we want to soothe ourselves in the moment and sell out the version of ourselves in the future that doesn't get the life they want? Or do we back that future version of ourselves and move to what's truly meaningful? And that, of course, is a decision that only we can make in that moment. But next time you're at that crossroads and you know that what you really need for your future is to turn right, but your attempt to turn right brings lots of discomfort and noise from the bus passengers who are wanting you to go in completely the opposite direction, that can be a time to maybe reflect on this and decide whether to put up with the discomfort in the now in order to get what you want in the future, or whether you want to sell yourself out in the future in order to soothe yourself momentarily now. So next time you're at that crossroads and you need to turn right and the passengers are screaming for you to turn left, it might be worth just reflecting on that little metaphor so that you can enable yourself and empower yourself to go in the direction that you really want to, rather than obeying all those feelings and noises of discomfort that come up whenever you try to get the life that you truly want. Because sometimes that is a bit uncomfortable. Sometimes that is a bit fearful. But if we go in the direction that we need, that we know that we truly want to end up at, then it can be really worth the courage to go past those feelings, those uncomfortable feelings, to get to where you want to be. So if you like this idea and you think it might be useful to somebody else, then please share the podcast. You can do that by finding the podcast at Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, basically. You could rate us on Apple Podcasts as well. That really helps. And you can also get all of these podcasts on YouTube now if you prefer to watch them on YouTube. You just need to go to asliceoftherapy.com for the YouTube channel. And if you want to work with me directly, I'm Alun Parry. You'll find me at the Liverpool Psychotherapy practice on Rodney Street. And you can find out more at my website, which is liverpoolpsychotherapy.co.uk. And until tomorrow, fell over my words, until tomorrow, when there'll be a new episode. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you then.